as a lead up, Mike is here. Mike Hardwick from Mississippi has been coaching air raid for many, many years, probably longer than most of us in here, if not everyone in here. I said it last night, but I'll say it again because we were setting you up on today's call. Mike learned air raid from a coach who learned right from Leach. And Mike, I'd love for you to start off this session by kind of talking about that, your history with the air raid, and then launch in, buddy.
All right. Well, here's my stuff. There's who I am at the top. I've been at Oxford Middle School since 2005 after 20 years as a high school principal. And I mean, we're pretty successful. We only had 25 kids out the first year. And so one of my jobs was to try to get more kids out. And of course, we're in Oxford where Ole Miss is. And I finally got it in my head that we needed to play like the kids, on Saturdays, doing those things. Well, a guy started teaching here at the school whose kid played for Ole Miss, and we were talking one day, and he had retired from the state of Alabama. He'd been in the state championship game in Alabama for eight times, and he ran the air raid. So we started talking, and for 10 years, every spring he would go out and spend a week. His booster club would pay for him and his staff to go spend a week with Leach when Leach would be doing his spring practices. So that's the base. So he started teaching me, and I'm forever indebted to him for teaching me about the air raid. So I do a lot of the old school air raid of the original concepts, if that's any, so, and some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. So, he taught me the quick game and the value of the quick game, and that was the original, emphasis of the air raid, the 35 yards downfield and the 35 yards, the width of the field. So just keep that in mind as we talk about stuff this evening.
Well, I think that's an important call out, Mike, because what we are learning and what I had learned, and you guys know how much I love Mackey, but I don't think you grew up an air raid guy. I think he learned it at a certain point past the originators. And so what we're learning, like Mike said yesterday, he's put out his great film and his great plays, and I copied exactly what he did. But there was a whole 15 to 20 years before that this was growing and evolving. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Like all verts used to be all verts, and then they would tag shallows, and then that somehow evolved to the play shallow, and that evolved to the mesh. So I love the perspective, especially in this group, of really taking it back to the way it was taught before. You'd come on YouTube and say, okay, stick, corner, mesh, and cross. That's your plays. And here's the play, and here's how you teach it. Like, I love this perspective because it's something new. And sorry, I'll stop.
I agree. But I agree 100%. 100%. It's hard to understand where you're at now if you don't understand the roots.
Exactly.
Well, here's where we start. I mean, that everybody see that on the screen? Is that good?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is our quick game. This is where we start teaching from day one, and I'm going to show you hopefully some practice stuff if I don't cut it off. Some of those probably don't make sense. The all stop, y'all call them hitches. Curl flat, if y'all have seen, I did that a couple months ago when Matt had me on the first time. They asked me what my favorite play was, and I think I did the curl flat. I think Salas was on that show, and I think his number one play is the speed out, which is the flat route, but he does it with slants instead of curls. And watch his video, and he says, "I won the last state championship, and this was our go-to play," and it's a great video. My stickish play is the slant hitch, and then Matt would call number 4 the hide. We call it the hide route. He's going to call that the Y corner, and then of course the all go, the 6. We call it the all go. Matt calls it the verts. Taylor calls it the 6. Anyway, those are our quick game routes. This is our concepts. Everything's a one-step drop. Everything there, all 5 of those plays, we go downfield initially. We want everything to look like a vert, an all go. It's only a one read. This is if then. So it's a one step. So the quarterback's job is easy. And I think that's important when you're talking about teaching, progressing, building blocks. The first thing to me is, well, what are you asking your quarterback to do? We're asking him to take one step drop, read one guy, throw the ball, throw it in the ground, run. I mean, that's all we're doing. Our offensive line blocking, which Matt's done some things on that. We keep it simple, big on big. We call it Bob blocking, big on big. And here's where we're different. We don't have a concept side, and then we don't have a backside. We're doing the same things on both sides. I know it sounds crazy. Just keep it in mind. Here's a bunch of other stuff. I can send this to Matt. This is just kind of how we teach it. These are some practice things that we do. I'm going to show you some video of that here in a few minutes. Again, if I don't mess it up. Here's all of our quarterback stuff. Matt and I have talked about, again, doing a separate show on just quarterback stuff. These are all of our quarterback drills. I'm going to show you one tonight. And here's some stuff you can find on YouTube, all that stuff. Okay. You want to run the air raid. How you fit the pieces together. To me, the first thing is, let's go to the left. You got Jimmys or Joes, tortoises or hares. I mean, what kind of guys do you got? What is the ability of your players? What kind of program? Matt said he's doing some stuff different now. He's to try to get his kids involved. Do you have them year round? Do you just have them a couple of months, twice a week, once a week? How do that goes into what you can do and how you're going to build your offense. And I'm going to give you there's two secret sauces. The first one is, and I called it Iverson. It's only practice, y'all. The drills. It's only practice, y'all. Come on, y'all, let's practice. It's the drills that you pick. There's a bunch of chameleon drills. You can go on YouTube now and find 30 drills, and you're going to like them all, and you're going to go, I can do that. But if they don't accomplish what you're doing, and I'm going to show you, I think y'all are going to be blown over with this. The drills are going to determine how successful you are. The second thing, let's get down to it, is the ability of your quarterback. I hooked up with Matt and saw his big monster of a quarterback. I mean, he was awesome. But you don't have those guys every year. Do you have a guy that's got a strong arm that looks good, but every fifth throw? I used to have a guy like that. We called him the wild thing. Major league, wild thing.
Right. Keep on, baby.
Wild. I mean, he would throw 4 balls perfectly, and the fifth ball would be 5 yards over your head or 4 yards in the ground.
Right.
Do you have we all had a guy like that? Or do you have a guy that doesn't really have the strongest arm, but he's just uncanny accurate? And then to a lesser degree, again, Jimmy's, Joe's, what kind of guys do you got? The guys around your quarterback. Number 3, if I could give you guys one piece of advice that of all the things that we did wrong when we started, but we did right, if I could give you one piece of advice, is this right here. Go as fast as you can. Go with your hair on fire. When we want to go fast, we call it NASCAR. When we want to go faster, we call it warp speed. So I just kind of made a funny of warp speed, Scotty. John Wooden, old school, has a book. It's a great book. Every coach ought to read it. It's called Be Quick But Hurry. But don't hurry, which means go as fast as you can. But if you go as fast as you can, but you can't be under control, then it does you no good. You have to go as fast as you can while being under control. And you got to practice that and got to practice tempo, every practice. When we first started doing it, we probably only did 3 plays because that's all we could do, and do it fast and do it organized. If we did more than that, we didn't know what we were doing. Our tempo broke down, but we went so fast, it eventually won games for us.
Now, Mike, are you talking about the tempo on game day, or are you talking about the way you run practice?
Way you run practice.
Okay.
Everything has to be. Hey, go to third. Everything has to be high energy. You got to be tolerant at first in the beginning, but you've got to create tempo all the time in your practice routine and what you're doing. And then the very last thing is your plays. Do you have a quick game? What is it? What is your quick game going to look like? Again, I've got some guys. I trolled Matt's Facebook page for the last couple of weeks. Guys asking for advice from Matt and all of us about, hey, I'm going to do the stick, the Y corner, and the mesh. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, you're in trouble. I mean, those plays don't go together. Hey, I want to do the mesh, and I think I'm going to do the wide stick and the mesh. I think I'm going to do the vert. I think those are my 3 plays. What do you guys think? I'm like, you're in trouble. Those plays don't fit. I'm going to do a Y stick. I'm going to do a bubble. I mean, none of those plays fit. To me, I may be wrong. Your horizontal game, I think, is your bubbles, your flares, your sweeps, your screens. I think that was the original of the leads. I'm not going to stretch. Not only am I going to stretch downfield, I'm going to stretch the field vertically. Chris Napier did a great video where he did a Q&A thing, I think, over 2 nights. Matt actually I wouldn't have done it, but Matt said, hey, I think Matt texted me or said, hey, I'm going to put this up tonight. He's doing this. This is the second night. You ought to do it. And I got in it on the second night, and he showed some drills. It was mainly Q&A, and somebody finally asked him, hey, well, what is your favorite route? And he said, you know what my favorite route is? He says, it's the R flare. And he said, research Mike Leake. Usually his second or third leading receiver is the R. Some call it the F, the running back. And I researched that. His running back averages 80 to 100 catches a year. Over 12 games, that's 5 or 6 catches a game. So stretching that field open, horizontally stretches you vertically. The stick, the corner, and the mesh. You're not stretching the field vertically. I mean, you're stretching it vertically, but you're not stretching it horizontally. And not only do those, So anyway, none of that may make sense. I'm gonna get rid of that. Hopefully, we're still on. We're still on.
You're still on, Mike. You have not broken anything, but I do think that's a good point. Like I just was talking about, we all kind of were introduced to air raid in a way where it was like, and I even made that mistake. I tried to get away from it a little bit in my initial series where we had the play menu and I tried to put up all the plays and try to encourage people to put it together in a way where they play off each other. Right. But I didn't do a great job of like telling them what pairs together and why. So, this is why this is next level stuff for these guys out here. So,
and I understand at the youth level and even at middle school, we only have an hour a day, 45 minutes a day. I'm lucky. I mean, we practice after school, but a lot of middle schools practice during a period. You don't think, Matt, you don't see your guys every day, right? I mean, you got to practice a couple times a week. So
definitely not during class periods. That's an advantage.
Or in Mississippi, that's what some middle schools have, an hour a day, and by the time you dress, you got 30 minutes. I mean, that's what some do. So piecing together your offense and what you can do is super important. But to me, whatever it is you do, they have to fit and build. You just can't pick plays because they look good, or you think you've got a good quarterback or a 6-foot receiver. We've all had those guys. And you might put a player or two to tailor, but that's not how you build your program from year to year.
And I would admit, I think the way that I've gone into this season, I think there is some flaw in the way that I've looked at it, because I think I've looked at it more of what are the things I think I can teach the best and what are the things I think I can practice the best, because of just the way I could structure the practice, how it's all going to fit together. And I'm not necessarily thinking about how the plays fit together on game day. So this is, huge. Because I am looking at it that way, and that is a mistake.
And we all do that. Hey, I've got an hour, and hey, I've got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. I mean, and you get bogged down in that type, like you say, of planning. So I got this crazy idea to do something like this. I started blowing up Matt immediately after. I'm like, you guys, Faisal just impressed me so much. And I'm going to disagree with Matt. We're almost in step with since we've met each other in step totally. And I think his program is very similar to what we do. we've sort of arrived at some of the same conclusions separately. But he said something last night. Well, everybody can do the stick.
Oh,
Can you see that?
there you go.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know that blows your mind. Okay.
There's a lot going on there, Michael.
A lot going on. But if you go on YouTube and you look at 5 YouTube stick videos, you're going to see 5 ways to do this. And that's what I tried to do. Faisal started talking, and then everybody started talking about the ways they do it a little bit differently. So I started trying to figure out all the different ways to run the stick. Well, let's just talk about the stick guy right here. Let's talk about the Y stick.
Yeah.
You know, some guys run it straight down the field. Some guys run it to the inside shoulder. I'm going to run it to green grass. And then Faisal blew our minds. He went, well, shit, I'm just going to go downfield. And then
Run around them.
find my guy. We're going to turn and then come back to green grass. And I'm like, I'm really pissed off at myself that I didn't think of that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You can see where the hole's opening, right? Like in real time.
Absolutely. I'm thinking, why did I not think of that? But just on the Y stick, and I've seen some guys to do this, and then if there's a guy right there, for him to start widening out. I mean, so just right there, look at all the possibilities, and you've got to decide what to do. You can't do all those, right? Can you? I mean, you're gonna defeat yourself. So you have to figure out what you're gonna do, and you're gonna have to figure out some drills to practice at. Let's talk about this. This is a whole passing tree, isn't it?
Yep.
What are you going to tell your Z to do, or your R, or whomever you're going to call it? For us, that's our Z receiver. Or is he going to do a mandatory outside release? Is he going to do a post? Is he going to do a dig? Is he going to do, if the corner's inside, is he going to do that? Or is he going to do comeback and something we're going to look at? Or is he going to do this and come back? I mean, is it going to be pre-snap, or is it going to be part of the read? I mean, you have to make all those decisions as a coach, right? So that further complicates this stick route. Have I lost you?
Yep. No, it's all right on, Mike.
You know me. I'm a little crazy. Oxford, we're a little different. Where I got really excited was Matt and I both got excited when Faisal started talking about he did the shoot. And then Matt popped up and everybody started commenting, and I started blowing. Matt got on me for monopolizing the chat. I started calling in, but Matt said, "Hey, I think that's a great question. What do all you guys do?" And everybody started blowing it up, and everybody started wanting to talk, and we got into a 15-minute conversation of what to do. I mean, and you're right. We could still be talking about it a week. All those guys. We could still probably be debating that. Of what to do with your R. Well, whatever you decide to do, you better teach that. You know. Now, this is the way we teach it straight out, and I did a video with Salas on that. That's another whole thing. Let's go back. Let's go to quarterback. Is he doing a 1-step drop? Is he doing a 2-step drop? If he's doing a 1-step drop and you're making 2 reads, that's a problem. To me, that's a problem.
I was thinking that last night. With stick, I don't see how you make a stick read on a rocker step. To me, it's a 3-step. Because if you're going to run all the way around, if you're going to have that Y run all the way around that strong side linebacker, that's 3 steps. Otherwise, it's going to be a rocker step and 14 hitches.
That's right.
They're going to jump around.
So for purposes of tonight, okay, let's forget about that. My God, let's don't even talk about the back. Let's don't talk about the backside. I mean, we can run whatever you want to run. You could run another stick. You can run double slants. You can do your wheel. Matt wanted to run the wheel. He wanted to run a speed out, a quick out. Let's don't even talk about that because I mean, look at the choices. And I mean, you can do anything you want. So I'm gonna try to close this out. Hopefully, everybody's still there. Everybody still there?
Yep, still there.
Okay. So I have a blown every so the stick isn't really that simple, is it?
No, it really isn't.
It's complicated. You as a coach have to make some decisions of how you want that to look. So I'm going. I'm not there. So
yeah, it was our least successful play.
And not saying we did bad with it, but our other plays were working, so I stopped calling sticks.
I'm like you. I'm like you. I couldn't figure out why that wouldn't work for us. I think we're pretty good. I think we're pretty good. And
I think it's the quarterback
we
stuff.
couldn't make it work, so I just said we're not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm going to show you a couple of our drills that let's start next. Let's start building our practice to build up. So we all want to build up. We want to do the stick, right? We want to do that play. So let's build up to it. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it. I have a bad habit of saying like, okay, this is how we do it. So that means this is how you should do it. That's not what I'm doing. I just wanted to get your thought processes so that you could figure out what you wanted to do and go figure out yourself how to do it. There's CoachTube, YouTube, there's me and Matt. There's a lot of people to ask of how to do that. So I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what we do. These are our 7th graders. Hopefully this will pop up. Everybody see it?
Mike, set the table. Is this before they've had any experience with your program, any experience with the plays?
No, these are my 7th graders. This was yesterday because I knew I was going to do this. We do this. We have done this. What you're fixing to see is a wide receiver is a skill circuit. You're going to see 2 minutes and 45 seconds of 3 things going on at the same time. It's organized chaos, and I'm probably going to be hollering through this. They've done these string balls. This is the 2nd time they've done them. The other drills, they've done them maybe 4 times at the most. You're going to see a group doing string balls. You're going to see a group doing my version of the loose and noose. Keep it in mind, and I'm going to ask you afterwards what you saw. Okay, just keep that in mind.
All right.
The third thing you're going to look. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to ask you to tell me what. I've got a third group, and I'm going to walk over in the video in the end zone doing something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You tell me what they're doing. Okay, something we've talked about. Oh, got to get rid of this. All right, you still on? Is everybody ready?
Uh-oh.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Organized chaos. Here we go. Oxford style. If you don't have string balls, Matt, you got to buy some of these. You got to get some string balls.
No, I've never. I don't think I've ever seen those. Where are they attached to? Their arms? Oh, the fence.
They're just attached to the fence.
Got it. What are they working right now?
It's supposed to be hard. I'm sorry.
These are catching drills.
The hang of it. These are 7 graders right here.
Are they catching drills or throwing mechanics? What are they working on, Mike?
They're working on. They're supposed to be working on catching and tucking.
Okay.
Loose and loose. Let's go, Logan. 1-step drop. Tell me what you're seeing. After we're through, tell me what you just saw. Don't tell me now, but tell me what you're seeing. I've changed. My loose and loose is a little different than others. So very good. I need some guys here. Let's go, Zerb. So tell me what you're seeing when we get through. Just tell me what you see. Keep the stick. All right, Parker. I need another good day, Parker. Hint. Keep the stick in mind. Tell me what you see. Oh, that's outstanding. These are 7th graders. Let's go, man. This is maybe the 4th time they've ever done this.
Nice.
Way to sit down. The other boy, other way, Oxford. And what we got going over here, we got a little fast hands, fast feet over here. All right, tell me what you see over here. We call it fast hands, fast, but tell me what you see when we get through. It's probably something you saw last Monday night. And we worked on this. Got some fast hands, fast feet right there, tucking our chin. I know it's organized. I know it's crazy. Let's tuck our chin. This is how we roll. Let's tuck our chin. We do something like this every day. And this is 9 minutes. You're seeing a 3-minute segment, and then our guys are gonna rotate. So we're doing this for 9 minutes. Yeah, that guy's terrible. Some of these guys aren't very good now.
I think I can tell you what I see. And I like it.
Got another minute before we change. Let's go, Oxford. Let's go. This guy right here is pretty good right here. He's gonna be good right here. See how he tucked his chin right there? Nice job right there. Nice job right there. We're trying to work on tuck the chin. Let's get some stuff done today. Tuck your chin, tuck your chin. Tuck your chin is terrible.
Love it. That's a 9 minute. That's a 9 minute period.
That's a 9 minute. I'm going to show you. Okay, I'm going to show you. This is the next group. This group is much better at the string balls, and this will answer your question you had about what the hell are they doing.
Mike, do me a favor.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
Put your cursor to the left a little bit and hit the speaker button so we turn off the audio for the drills. Not that I don't like hearing you yell on the thing. It's hard to talk over that. Click that. There you go. Perfect. All right, now we can talk and talk through it.
You don't want to hear me holler?
We've heard enough of that.
I'm just playing with you, man. All right. Let's go back. Remember what I asked you. What did you just see? And what it would relate to. Now the last minute, I cut off. Remember what I said at the end of that? We got 1 more minute. I changed the noose and loose. So I changed it. See, so what are you watching now? This is different. We call this triangle. See, I have another cone up there.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this different. Now our last minute, we're doing this different. Everybody watch that. Everybody watch what we're doing. We're not doing what we did before on the noose and loose. This is our second variation of the noose and loose. Okay? No, he's terrible. Yeah, that guy's terrible. So just keep on. This video is not as long. Just stay with me. It'll make sense. He did a good job. Fast hands, fast feet, and tucking his chin, which is what something we're working on new this year. Fast hands, fast feet, and tucking your chin.
I mean, the steps, the direction's not stick, but the steps are very similar to how we can run a stick if that overhang defender's in there.
Really? Funny that. All right, this group is much better with the string balls. We're trying to see that guy right there? We're trying to high point it. That's what we're trying to do is high point it, boom, tuck it. This group is much better.
Is that a Biloxi, Mississippi tool you got there, or is that available worldwide?
In fact, I just bought 10 more of those.
Where?
We ordered from BSN. It's a company in Florida that makes it. If you're running the air raid, you got to get this. You've got to get the balls. They're 50. Now I will say they're $50 a piece.
Damn.
Yeah, they're $50. You maybe could make it, but they're $50 a piece.
It's just a bungee and a tie to the fence.
It's a plastic ball. It's a bungee cord, and that is a plastic ball.
Yeah.
A plastic bar. So we use these a couple times a week.
Nice. That's good. I like it.
All right, the question on the rocker step. Let me see if I can find it. At the question of the step, I'm gonna move this over a little bit more.
Mike, why are you emphasizing tucking the chin? So why are you stressing that in particular? I mean, I know the coaching point, but why do you think that's so important for you this year?
Watch some Mike Leach videos. When they come out of every route, so they're coming down and they tuck their chin. If I tuck my chin and you're the defender, and I do that, what does that mean I'm fixing to do? I'm fixing to change my route. I'm fixing to do something different, right? I'm fixing to change. I'm fixing to change my route. So what am I going to do? I'm going to check up. Watch some Mike Leake videos of fast hands, fast feet of theirs guys. When they do the stop and go, the stutter and go, whenever they change direction, and it freezes their defender. We just put that in this summer. Okay. This is our third version. This is the settle and noose. This is the third version. These are my 8th graders. We haven't even taught this to 7th graders, but I'm just going to show you the third version of the noose and loose. So keep in mind our other 2 things. These are 8th graders a couple of weeks ago. This is our third version of the noose and loose. What we're doing here is we're saying 10 yards and we cut off the audio. From the numbers to the hash, you can go anywhere you want to go. You're just going to sit down. You'll see it in a minute. Anywhere from the numbers to the hash. All right, I'm gonna cut myself off.
It's a lot of freedom. What routes do you give them that much freedom? Snag?
None. Well, this is a green grass. I mean, this is a green grass route. We're teaching them to go to green. We're teaching them to go to green grass. We're telling them just your green grass is anywhere in here, and getting the idea of sitting down when you get to green grass. Okay, so enough of that. All right.
Okay.
So, any questions on any of that so far?
Well, there's just one question before we get too far away from it. We were talking about rocker steps, and there's another question coming in. So let's pause here for a sec. Carrie, how do you guys teach rocker steps to your quarterback? I'm curious how you guys do it.
So for me, what I teach is the front foot. For a right-handed quarterback, you're always sitting in shotgun with the right foot slightly ahead of the left foot. And so the rocker step is simply setting the right foot back to begin the throw. So if it's a one step, it's just, there you go. So the right foot's forward. So it's just bringing that right foot forward back so that it's square to your target and making the throw from that back foot.
Yeah.
And
literally your body's rocking back, getting the momentum to come forward. Yeah, exactly.
And you're throwing off that back foot right when you get there.
Right. It's what we do with quarterback plays. I will have to brag. Since 2002, every quarterback at Oxford has been is D1. We've got guys at Rice, Sanford, Memphis State, two guys at Southern Mississippi, Navy, all over the place. Maybe not. I mean, they're not big Ohio State guys, but here's what we did today. 8th graders today. What you watched yesterday was the 7th graders doing those drills, and we're going to piece it all together. I promise. Just a minute. Hang with me. But your question about the rocker steps, this is one of our quarterback drills that we do every day. We did it with the 7th graders yesterday. I just forgot to film it. We're calling this. This is what we call our Washington drill. Just again, watch it. It's almost a minute. Let's watch. See what you see. Squeeze the ball. Let's go. Squeeze the ball. Hush. Shoulders over feet, feet on shoulders. So I cut the video off just for Matt. There's my man Kamar, Matt's favorite guy.
Oh baby, he's a baller.
he's gonna be the best player in Mississippi when he's a senior.
You think so?
Yeah, he's that good.
You're trying to take credit for him, I see already.
Yeah, I'm
6 years early.
We're trying to do feet under shoulders, shoulders over feet. That is our big thing.
Hey Mike, I'm starting to camp next week for my program, and I have an hour with quarterbacks, and we're teaching everybody anybody that wants to. You can either choose go with the quarterbacks or go with the receivers. I need you to email me all your this is all good stuff that I need. Okay.
Fly me out there, baby. All right.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
So, anyway, okay. Those are some things that we do almost every day. Just some basic
on that, not to cut you off, but you keep doing it every day. It goes with Coach Ross's question, and that's my question. When you started sending me these like a month ago, and we posted it, like I don't have time. I don't even have time for my quarterbacks to get an individual drill. To be honest, during the season, they're usually paired with either the running backs or the receivers. They never have time to just go through drills. So. Are these things you do every practice in the off season, or you do these drills during the season, during a game, during camp? Let's just call it camp.
No, I mean the quarterback that drill that you saw, the quarterback drill was basically everybody else it's a 10-minute period. They're doing bags and agilities. I mean, that's the first to practice. They're doing bags and agilities. Quarterbacks are doing quarterback drills. So the first, I mean, don't you do first 10 minutes of practice? Don't you do, some type of bags, agilities, warm up, stretches, whatever you call it? We don't stretch.
I think that's the biggest thing. That's a 20-minute that we are, as air raid coaches, gaining by not static stretching. And I think that will unlock a lot of this for all of us, Coach Ross included, and myself. I mean, we started the season off. I've told this story a million times. Going the first week, it was like 30. I was timing it, and I was just like steam was coming out of my ears with the guy that I let kind of run that, and we were going over 30 minutes for warm-ups, and it was static stretching and arm circles. It was like the 80s. It was making me so mad. So that's a huge point. That I think that's where the time. If you start with Indy, that's great.
I mean, we don't waste time with stretches in that. I mean, so when the other guys are warming up and doing bags and agilities and drills, the quarterbacks are doing that just 10 minutes. That that circuit you saw took 9 minutes, and that was every skill guy that I had, and that was about 50. I mean, that was like 40 guys. I think it was 36 guys. So we're doing 9 minutes. Now it took us maybe 5 minutes to set that up. We did that during the water break. We set the drill up during the water break, and then they had water, and then we did 9 minutes, and that was a lot of stuff in the 9 minutes.
Yep.
For
sure.
So,
all right, cool. Where are we on now?
Let's.
Mike, he did it again.
He's gone.
He's gone. All right. He'll be back in a second. So let's talk to Brad real quick. How's it going, man?
Good. Snuck in late.
You just coming off the practice field?
No, we had weigh-ins tonight. So
weigh-ins.
First time in 2 weeks we gave the kids a night off so they could go do weigh-ins, and we've been hitting it pretty hard, so we gave them one night off.
So weigh-ins for your team, or do you guys do like a league?
Yeah.
A league?
Yeah, for our league, if you're above a certain weight, you're an X-man. You can't carry the ball. And we've got a couple of kids that are playing down, so they got to be under a certain weight to be able to Z down. They call it in our league. I don't know if that's universal terminology, but so yeah, everybody weighs in the whole league, and tonight was our designated time. So
yeah, I love that. We don't do that as a league. When I used to watch Friday Night Tykes, I thought that was so cool when the whole league would get in the same gym, and I don't know. I just feel like that would be cool for the kids to kind of eyeball the other teams and see who you're gonna play and all that stuff.
Well, we got
Mike.
We got one kid. He's playing. I think I told you I'm coaching 2 teams this year, helping coach the older team, and so he had to get to 80 pounds. And I mean, the kid seriously has been dieting for 2 weeks to make sure he gets underway. I talked to his dad today. He's like, he hasn't eaten anything since before practice yesterday. He's been spitting in a cup all day. And so he was 3 pounds under, which was plenty. And he had a dozen donuts sitting outside the door as soon as he walked out to chow down. So I was happy for that kid.
That's an interesting point to make. Hey, Mike, you got to share your screen again, and we'll get you back up.
Yeah, we're having trouble doing it again. So anyway,
that's interesting because the few times we've had those kids that were on the bubble, it's and again, not to sound old, but like back in the day, it wasn't like an insult to tell a kid's mom that they need to lose, they need to lose a few pounds. It's just kind of like what we all grew up in. So like the first few times when I got back to coaching a few years ago, I like went up to the moms and like, he's just a few pounds over, nothing to worry about. But if you can cut out the soda this week, that would be great. And we won't. But then like I quickly learned like you take it personal. And I'm like, I didn't mean anything by it. Have you guys experienced that where people like it's kind of like you got to tiptoe around that conversation nowadays, where as opposed to back in the day, it's just like you got to cut weight this week. I mean, it's just part of it.
Yeah. The nice thing about our league is you weigh in once at the beginning of the year and that's it. So once they've weighed in tonight, they're done for the rest of the year. They're good to go. So that's a nice thing. The league we started in my first year, it was every week for games.
Yeah, for sure. Mike, everyone wants to hear you keep going, man. So what's the deal? You click screen share. What's it saying now?
Yeah, I can't get it to come back on again. I'm just not that good of a techie guy. I was going to try to get the Just Play to come up and show you a couple of plays of piecing it together, but let's just talk through it because we've done a lot. So let's see if we can click back up to our reason why we're here is the stick. And y'all can't see that though, right?
No.
Think about this. Think about the screen that I shared with you with the stick, and we had all that stuff going over.
Mm-hmm.
We had the horizontal shoot or the flare. Then you had your sticks route. You had a couple of different ways. to teach it. Then you had Fiesel's way of where he was going downfield and making that 45 cut, right?
Right.
So what did we see in the what did we see in the videos we were talking about? We saw the first noose and loose where they went to the cone and then turned around and went back to the first cone, and he turned around. What was he doing?
I saw that. What I liked about that, are you trying to mimic almost the next person in line is kind of the defender?
Correct.
So they're coming back and they're turning away from that.
In the original loose and noose of Leach, he put a defender there, to get off the jam and then go to a cone, to the other defender to go back. But what you saw in the noose and loose, we went to the cone, fast hand, fast feet, we planted, then we came back to that first cone, which represents the defender, and they turned away from that, right? They turned away from the imaginary defender, and what did he do? He sat down. So what is that? That's the stick.
That's the stick. Right?
That's the stick. I mean, that's a stick. So we're doing that in the noose and loose. The first route we teach, we call it, y'all would call it the hitch. Matt calls it the hitch. I call it the all stop. We call it the stop. Where we go 4 yards downfield, the inside receivers in 5 yards downfield. And, I was going to show you that. So that's the first play we teach. The concept is on both sides. Both inside receivers are running 4, the outside receivers are running 5, and they're sticking and stopping and turning around. It's a wildly successful play for us. It's not sexy. It's easy. It's a high completion percentage. It's a third down play. It's a goal line play. It's a play at any level you can complete. You're throwing the ball no more than 10 yards.
Is the quarterback just finding the kid that has the defender playing furthest off of him, basically?
He's reading the number. He's reading the number 2 defender. And we're going to run at the inside shoulder. You saw on the stick, we're going to run at the inside shoulder and turn around to that defender and get leverage. If you're going to stay inside shoulder of that 2 defender, then you're going to throw to the outside receiver. It's an if-then, 1-step drop, if-then, and if they're not open, and we actually teach that. We did it today. Then you throw the ball 5 yards on the ground in front of the guy. We want it to one hop into his, it's that simple. And I've showed Matt some of these. I showed it to Fiesel the other night, and he was like, I think I'm going to steal that. Easy to teach. It's easy. But that incorporates those drills. The second drill we're going to teach is the curl flat, which our inside receivers are going to do the speed out. Fiesel shoot. Remember we had the discussion between the flare and the shoot. So our inside receiver is going to do the speed out. And our outside receiver is going to do exactly what you saw in the end zone. He's going to run downfield 6 to 8 yards, plant his foot 6 to 8 yards, and then come back at an angle inside to the quarterback. If the ball's not thrown, he keeps coming to the quarterback. That's the drill that you saw. That's what you saw. That's what you saw last Monday night, right? He runs down the field 6 to 8 yards, plants his foot, finds the defender, and he goes to green grass. Exactly what you saw us doing, that we do that every day. So we're building before we even get to a play. We're actually practicing some of our plays without doing any of our plays. And we're doing it in, like you said, Matt said, well, okay, Mike, that's cool and that's sexy, but I don't have time to do all that shit. Well, you just saw 9 minutes worth of organized chaos. You saw the stick. You saw the noose and loose going to green grass. And you saw us going downfield at an angle for 45, coming back, to a spot. I mean, you're teaching a lot. I mean, you're teaching a bunch of principles of the air raid without teaching a single play, and you're doing it in 9 minutes. And you saw all the reps that we were getting with 7th graders that have done it. That was the 3rd or 4th time. And yeah, it wasn't really great, was it? It wasn't great, but you guys could tell what we were doing with 7th graders. Just think after a month, they're going to look pretty good. And next year's 8th graders, they're going to look damn good. And we only did it 9 minutes. You saw a bunch of catching. You saw a bunch of stuff in 9 minutes. I mean, don't you have 9 minutes to do? And you haven't done a play, but you're doing three of our, I showed you 5 quick game routes, right? I just showed you 3 of those routes in 9 minutes. I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty good.
That's great.
I mean, that's just me. And I know we don't have the film to pull up, And I wish we did, but some of it's on a previous thing I did with Matt a couple of months ago that I went over the quick game and it's all there on Zoom. And I think Matt's probably still have it. So
I'll put it on.
It's the same. I mean, this is the same concept of how, you know, Matt and others, and when I used to follow Mackey a lot, you know, talking about the way that they coach Pat and Go and routes on air, it was really all about getting through those reps really fast, but getting through them with the intention of them being the building blocks of when they get to Skelly. So Pat and Go, routes on air, that's just repetition for Skelly. And I think that's what you're saying here, but you've broken it down even further, all the way down to the quarterback, you know, and that's great. I mean, you've got all the building blocks there.
We didn't talk about that, and you saw in the noose and loose, you know, the quarterback's taking the one-step drop, and when they went to the horizontal, when we call it the triangle, when they went to the 45, you know, when they went to the third cone and came back, if you noticed, I forgot to stop. I forgot to tell you that the quarterbacks were doing a two-step drop then.
Yeah.
You know, so again, we're incorporating quarterback drops plays. We're incorporating a bunch of concepts in some plays that you're going to do. What I don't care what you do, but you're going to do a lot of what you just saw. And we did not. And was that how, do y'all think that was fairly, for seventh graders, fairly high tempo? That was
It's very high tempo.
That was pretty high. I mean, that was pretty high tempo. I mean, the string balls was a static drill. But the other drills were static drills. You didn't see a lot of guys standing around, did you? I mean, you know, so there you go, incorporating your tempo. Your question was, well, do you do that just for your plays or just for the certain period? Oh, yeah, we do. We do a NASCAR tempo period, but that was built into that 9-minute period. There was a lot of reps, a lot of running. And also you saw in the background some guys doing push-ups, doing up-downs. If you missed the ball, you go pick up the ball, put it down by the quarterback, and you do 5 up downs. I mean, you know, so it was chaos, but they sort of knew what they were doing, and we were teaching 3 different drills that I was going to show you. I'm sorry, I'm just not a good techie. That you can easily do in your concepts, and I bet that you're already doing 3 of those things, three similar routes without even doing any of those plays. So if you have another, say, 10 or 15 minute period, and you're going to work on your plays, look what you've already done in that 9 minutes. Look at what you've already put in there. So you can change. And now all that you saw, the noose and loose, we did it like Matt did it. And I'm not talking bad about Matt. I'm not talking about, I love Matt. He did it. He does the noose and loose as a warm-up. Right? Don't you do that as a warm-up?
Yeah. Yep.
And you saw it, and he was specific. We're doing this as a warm-up, and we're doing it at half speed. And we do that sometimes, and that's the way we started doing it. And after watching that, I just went, shit. I mean, you know, we're just not getting anything out of that.
Yep.
But Matt believes that, and it works for him. Do that. But we do it. You saw how we do it. We do it high tempo. We do it balls to the walls. And we're teaching another thing, you know, fast hand, fast feet, because we're doing that every time we change direction on a route. We want them to fast hands, fast feet, and tuck their chin, because we don't want the defender to know where we're going. We're going to go right, go left, or I may tuck my chin, and then I may go upfield vertical. So don't be afraid to find something that you like or something that I did and go, you know what? I'm going to change that just a little bit, because all that you just saw, I made that shit. I made that up. I saw I saw the noose and loose and saw some stuff, and you saw the noose and settle. I changed it. I went 10 yards. Matt quizzed me about Matt said, "Why are you doing that?" You know, and then I decided, okay, and then we're going to go from the numbers to the hash. You can go anywhere you want to. But when you decide wherever it is you're going to stop, and you're going to settle and your hands up, and then the quarterback's going to hit it. So I changed those drills to fit what we do. So find you some stuff that you like. If you want to tweak it, don't be afraid to tweak it. And that was one of the other things I wanted to talk about tonight. If you want to get better at a couple of routes, try to figure out some type of circuit like that and tweak your drills. You could probably do a better job than that and show it to me, and I want to steal it. You know.
Yeah.
No, I've seen it firsthand this year. I've been exposed to a lot of different coaches at different age groups, and it seems like a lot of the mentality is when we do concepts, we're in team, and when we need to work on skills, we're in indie or we're in group, and the two don't go together, and so like half the time in team, you're teaching fundamentals. It should have been done in group and indie.
Right.
And that's when the light bulb went off for me. It's like team and indie there shouldn't be a single rep that doesn't directly correlate to what I'm going to do in team and in concept. And I don't want to waste a single rep in any moment or second of practice. It isn't a building block for a concept that I'm going to do in team.
Of course, you're right. If you've got 2.5 hours to practice every day, it doesn't matter, right? But now if you've got a limited time to practice and you want to get it done, you're right. When you go to team and you have to stop what you're doing to go back and, like you're talking about, and teach a route because you're not doing it, and you have to stop what you're doing. And you've got to do that 5 or 6 minutes. Your quarterback's not getting reps. Your R's not getting around. And if you've got 4 receivers, none of them guys are getting around because you're pissed off because you got to stop what you're doing because somewhere or another it's not sinking in. They don't have a frame of reference, so you got to stop and teach it. Right? You have lost probably 10 minutes, and that's probably if you've got a 15 or 20 minute period. You're blown for the day, aren't you? You're excuse my language, but you're screwed for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm trying to fix that every day we do a circuit like that every day. Some days it's just wide receiver circuit, and I'll take the R's and I'll go do my R flare, or I'll do work on the dart, or I'll work on a run game or something. But we're doing that in circuits every day, a 10-minute period every day, and we've got we figured it out. We've got a couple about 3 or 4 different circuits that we do with our skill guys. So that when we, like you say, exactly what you're saying, when we get ready to do team, we don't have to stop. We don't have to stop and do any of that, So
hey, Mike, I don't know if you're okay with this. I'm going to ask you anyway because I want it, and other coaches are asking for it. Not only I want to get your videos up, so you and I can work together after this on figuring out a way where you can get it to me so I could post it. But your circuits, can you share those with us too?
Yeah. I mean, you want to watch them again, or you just want me to?
No. I just want you to email me on a piece of paper. Circuit 1 is station 1, station 2, station 2.
I actually tried to email it to you I tried to text it to you today, and the file, 3 minutes, the file was too big. So that's when I downloaded it to my computer, so it's there, so I can send it to anybody that wants it. I can send it to any of you guys that want it, or I guess I'll send it to Matt. And Matt, you feel free to send out anything that I share with you to anybody that wants, and I'll send my the quick game concepts, and you're welcome to send it to anybody that asks for it. If I can help,
that'd be great.
That is fine with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, those circuits are going to be huge for me in my little camp that's coming up too. Because like I said, it's going to be nice. It's going to be relaxed, and more people. These kids that aren't usually quarterbacks are going to get to learn it just like any other quarterbacks got to learn it during the season. We usually don't have time to do it. So this is the silver lining.
Do a quarterback show and show you some of our quarterback drills. They're simple little drills just like that. And I would love to show you some of those drills and get that out there to everybody. I think that would help a lot of guys. And again, you can do that just 2 or 3 quarterback drills a day, no more. We don't do any more than 10 minutes. And we don't do those every day, but we do those a couple of times a week while everybody else is doing their warm-ups. The quarterbacks go with me and do their quarterback drills for no more than 10 minutes.
I love it.
I have two very quick questions, if you don't mind. Number one, so when you're talking about the read progression for stick, let's just stick with stick because you're talking about it. So do you prefer your quarterback to take that single step, and you call it a rocker step or whatever those are, they're hitches for me. Do you prefer them to take a single step and hitch till they feel like they've got the read? Or do you think it's better for a kid to read it while they're taking a 3-step drop and then throw the ball on the back foot of the 3-step? Or do you think it's better to give them the hitches?
Okay, we call it number one. Let's start. We call it the kick step, like your bicycle. Think about when you're a kid in a bicycle and you're putting your kickstand down.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I call them hitches. Right.
And let's go back to the video that we saw. You saw our guys emphasizing that kick step. We call it the kick step. That's our one step. We don't kick step. I think Feasel was like, I'm going to rocker step in one. Well, that's two steps.
Right.
We don't do anything more with seventh graders than a one step. Okay. Nothing. Everything is just a one step.
But then they're kick stepping until they're ready to throw and they get their progression done.
So we're gonna go one kick step foot fire. And you saw in the new syllabus, they took one step foot fire. That is all that we do. On our verts, the 6, that is all that we do. We want to get good at that. Yeah, I agree. The mesh, the stick, all that. You're right. What is that? That's a question. Again, depending on what you ask your quarterback to do, that's the good thought. So I say for us, not for you. I'm not trying to tell you to do this. I'm just saying for us, I want to make sure that my quarterback can take a one step, quick as he can, foot fire, be ready to read my foot. The other thing that we work on quarterback drills, if one foot's not on the ground, if your back foot is not on the ground, you cannot throw the ball accurately. So back to your question of 1 to 2 steps. So many times I think at lower grades, your middle school quarterback is taking your one step. Then as he's taking your second step, it starts to open up. He's
coming open.
He's exactly, Matt. So he's thinking, oh shit, coach told me to throw it. He's not set to throw it. And more importantly, in my philosophy, if your quarterback's back foot is not on the ground planted, you cannot throw a football accurately. I don't know why it is.
So in other words, you'd rather he be foot firing until he's ready. Got it. Okay. That's what I needed.
So that's a huge point that I think it was Dular that was talking about it, but the main, like, Peyton Manning used to get a lot of shit about, his little happy feet, and it would look so weird because he's like 6'7" and like a big jolly giant, and he's up in the pocket like this, and he'd catch a lot of flack for it. But that is the exact technique that, since I think it was Shane and Mike is backing it up, like, it's more about this being ready to throw it any second than it is to get these, get 8 yards of depth or whatever, right? Like, obviously you got to get back, but you're already in the shot.
Quarterback drill that you saw, Matt made me turn it off because I was being loud. But in there, I got on one of those guys because he was hopping in the air and both feet were in the air, and I corrected him and I went, 1 foot's always on the ground. 1 foot. We just want to do it fast, but 1 foot's always on the ground, because if your feet are in the air, like Matt says, and this comes open and your feet are in the air, it's not going to be an accurate throw. And so anyway, I mean, I think that's an important part. Particularly, you start talking about sticks, meshes, even the verts. I mean, I bet you if there's 30 guys here on this show, I mean, if Matt were to say, okay, on your all go, your vert, your 6, whatever it is that you call it, is that a 1-step or 2-step drop? And some guys may say, no, it's a 3-step drop for us.
Yeah, we call it quick 3. There's quick 2s and quick 3s and quick, like, we're going to get into all that. We're going to find your timing. Just like we talked about yesterday, find your timing, right? Like,
the only thing that we do is on the stop and go. We'll do a stop and go. So I'm doing my fast hands, fast feet, tucking, and then I'm going, stopping, fake stopping, and then I'm going to my landmarks. We will do 2-step on that. 1 step to fake for the stop, and then we go take another step back to plant for the verts. That is the only thing we do 2 steps on. And I'm like, Matt, we couldn't get the stick to work. I think it wasn't my play. I don't think it's what we were asking the receivers to do. I think the problem was it was a 1-step drop, and we were asking the quarterbacks to do too much. So
it doesn't come open that fast. That's the problem. You're just throwing the swing.
It doesn't.
That's what Mummy says to do. Drill it in with the swing. And I think Coach Ross said it earlier. If you hit the swing the first couple of times, as long as that person's not just sitting out there, just set the tone with it, then the stick might come up.
And we talked about, and Fiesel's not here to defend himself, and that was a fantastic, and he is amazing. You know, I made Matt give him my or give me his email, and I did a Zoom with Fiesel Sunday night because he was so awesome, and I think I'm going to put his play in. But we quizzed him, and we actually alluded to it last night. His reads were outside receiver 1, stick 2, and then 3 was the flare. Correct, Matt? That's what he was saying. And I think I asked it on the chat. Is that a pre-snap read with the outside receiver? And he said no. That's the quarterback's first read. Well, then that's when I started wondering, okay, well, how many steps is the quarterback? And I think we're going to do a rocker step in 1. If that works for him, that's cool. That's cool. But if you're just going to ask the quarterback to make 1 step and make basically 3 reads, I'm going to read the outside guy, the stick guy, and then, oh, yeah, if that's not there, I'm going to turn and do the shoot or the flare or whatever. You're asking the quarterback to do an awful lot. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and he's sitting there with 1 step. That's the problem of those. You start getting the sticks. Even to me, the Y corners, a great play, match play, undefensible play. We call it the hide. You know, in undefensible play, it does take a little bit to do. So what are you going to tell your quarterback to do, and who's he going to read? Is he going to read the inside guys? Is he going to read the safety, or is he going to read the one defender? Those are choices that you have to make. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but you have to make those choices yourself first. Then you've got to teach it to your quarterback, and in that, you've got to don't overlook how many steps you're taking, because that's going to be critical to the success of your play, of what you're asking him to do. In my opinion, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do, but in my opinion, to make our offense work, that's how I would structure that process to build the play.
All right, last question topic before we get. I want to see Brad's scrimmage film. So, but the last topic, Coach Manny is asking you, Mike. You're not asking these quarterbacks, if they get back, get their rocker step, get ready to plant, and they have nowhere to throw to. You're not saying they can't hitch forward a little bit. Are you saying if that read's not there, you're throwing it in the dirt? Like, period. That's the rule.
I'm telling them by that time, it's probably going to be about 3 seconds, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly. 1,001, 1 step. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. I'm saying you ought to be doing that in your head. That's what you know. That's just going to be a natural thing. If it's not a if then and it's not wide open, do not throw it. You're to throw it 5 yards in front of the receiver, or you're to tuck it and run to the line of scrimmage. You are not going to get sacked. We're not going to throw it if you're not sure it's there. You're going to throw it in the ground 5 yards in front of the receiver. And we do that. When we do tempo and do team, about 2 or 3 times, I'll go to the quarterback and I'm going, throw it in the ground. And our quarterbacks hate it. I'll go, throw this away. You're going to throw this in the ground. Even if the guy is open, you're going to throw it in the ground 5 yards. We practice it 5 yards in front of the receiver. If it does perfectly, it's going to bounce up into the receiver's hands. That's what we want. And if it's not there, you just run and tuck it. No, we're not going to throw it. We're not going to get sacked. And we practice that. So, I'm not telling you to do that. That's how we do that. We don't want the quarterback to feel pressured. If it is not wide open, you are not to throw the damn ball.
You don't want them climbing in the pocket. Like it's either there on rhythm or get the shit out.
We don't want you running around in the pocket. We want you getting back to the line of scrimmage and minimizing the damage. And I promise you, we'll do something better the next play.
So the way you teach that is just rep, just like everything else. If you start seeing them climbing, that's you correct it right then and there. You gotta spike that ball.
We are not doing that. Nope, we're not doing that. And
I like to teach. I mean, to Manny's question, I like to teach a quarterback to throw when their back foot hits the ground. Now, there's some like a hitch, like a stick, where the progression can take different. The problem with stick is it's not a timing route; it's a progression route. It depends on what the linebacker does. So you can't tell a kid to do a 3-step drop and when your back foot hit go. But let's say the way, Coach Matt, the way you run 6, you can teach timing there because you've got a 3-step turnaround, right? So you know that that's going to be a 3-step outside foot, 3-step turnaround. That's a rocker step out because that's hike, rocker step out. And that is a timing route. And I can show you guys real quick, just Matt, you mind real quick? I've got a drill that maybe you could use.
Hey, but the other thing on that is Matt's teaching that's a good question. He's teaching that's a pre-snap read though, correct, Matt? So he knows pre-snap that I'm gonna throw to the the outside receiver on the left here, the cornerback's 9 yards off. I know pre-snap because he's teaching that pre-snap. I know pre-snap. I'm going to take a 1-step drop, and I'm taking it. Matt's term is easy money. So that is, you're not asking him to read that. That is pre-snap.
Right.
So that's also an important point. Are you going to build pre-snap reads? And I think in the stick, some of that you can build a pre-snap read. Not your stick, not your wide guy, but on your outside guy, you maybe could build a pre-snap. That's what a couple of us were asking Feasel. Is that a pre-snap read? No. We're reading it. That's the number 1 read.
I don't even teach him to peek it, to be honest. I just tell the receiver to let us know if it's something that we can get later, and then we'll tag it later. But there's too much going on for him to read all 3 things.
That's right. You can't do that, can you? You're going to have to
try to read the linebacker and get the ball out. That's how I've been teaching it, and then we'll tag the deep route if that corner's sitting in the zone or being lazy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on. Mike, you and I are going to not do this live. You and I are going to get on Zoom and record it like the old days, and then have something beautiful for these guys.
I'm sorry, guys. I apologize.
That's all right. I think everyone still got a lot out of it. We're getting great feedback on the chat. Everyone loves hearing you talk. It's that Southern draw, man. I'm telling you, if you had your own show, you'd be blowing up right now.